5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Good evening. Celtic on the brink of Champions League proper, and £40 million after that spectacular 3-0 win last night over the Austrian champions Lask. Rangers on tonight against the Czech side Jablonec at 7:45 at Ibrox. Many of you will be on the way there. And 15 minutes earlier, 7:30 tonight, Motherwell against Freiburg, the Germans in town. Also Hearts in action, so too are Hibs. Charlie Mulgrew is here, Kevin Kyle with us as well. Charlie, how good was that performance last night from your old team?
Absolutely brilliant. What a week it's been. Absolutely ruthless in front of goal, Paul. That's the difference for last year. Amazing to watch. Duran comes up, scores 2 brilliant goals. Nygren's the right place at the right time, knows how to score a goal. We know that for last year anyway. Celtic are more in the right direction. Listen, they look like they can see a goal they can concede. They did so last night, but obviously they were offside, just about offside. So it shows that Lask can score goals. But the difference is Celtic in front of goal are making life so much easier for themselves, giving them cushions in games, giving them something to hold on to. And honestly, they're looking the part this year.
Kevin, as a striker, former striker, the 3 goals were really special.
Oh, outstanding, Paul. I think out the pick of the 3, I'd probably have to take on Nygren's. Guided that in. It was a really, really clever finish. Duran's finish with a volley, outstanding. And then his second goal just topped off an unbelievable performance for Celtic, and especially Duran coming to the club. Maybe not playing his natural position, but he certainly looked natural out there on the right side last night. Very, very good.
Here's Martin O'Neill at full time after Celtic's big win.
I thought there were periods where we played some really fantastic stuff. There's also periods where they played fantastic stuff. It was really like a basketball game, particularly in the first half. We rode a little bit of luck. They had a great shot in the first minute, just marginally offside. They had a great chance just a moment or two after that, so they started the brighter. And it took us time to get going, but when we did, then we scored. Great goal by Nygren to take a bit of pressure off, give us the lead, and then Duran's 2 goals were fantastic. But the game is absolutely in the balance yet.
Yeah, it wasn't getting carried away at the end. What about Duran? This was the manager's view.
It's been fantastic for us since he's arrived at the football club, and his goals were terrific. His play was great. His running back, helping fullbacks, helping Colby out on a number of occasions. It was magnificent performance. And he's if he stays clear of injury, he's going to be a really, really good player.
What a player. The work back the way similar to Maeda used to do, the way he's working back, but only the difference in Maeda was a bit of a speedboat with no driver at times. Take nothing away from him. He'd a lot. That's no disrespect to him, because a lot of the time he'd done what he'd done for the job, but technically he wasn't the best. Duran looks technically very good. Goal. I mean, they 2 finishes last night tell you everything you need to know about him. Keeps his eye on it, finishes it, and sometimes you can get lucky with him. The second strike shows he's no lucky. He opens his foot up, uses the defender, and guides it past him. It's just goals that made him with a snatch that maybe went over the bar. We've seen him going down the line a few times, but he did cross out the pitch. Duran just looks another level again, and it's a definite upgrade. It's a great signing. £4.5 million, Paul, is great business. And then Nygren as well at the edge of the box goes and finishes. Yeah. The quality, the difference is when goals change games. I said it last year, Celtic couldn't put teams to bed, and if you score 1, the team that you came out, then you go and score 2 and 3 because they open up, and then you get something to hold on to, and you can break on teams. They done it against Dundee United at the weekend. Yeah. They were 2-0 up at half time. They only had maybe 2 or 3 chances in the first half. They take 2 of them. They then can sit in their half and soak up a bit of pressure and go and get teams in the break. And you just break their heart by breaking away and scoring goals. If you're ruthless as a team, it's so hard to play against, because you know you only need 1-2 chances and you'll score. And that's the difference between Celtic this year and last year for me.
And you see the difference in Champions League. Last season, the atmosphere was different. Even the Cairo Almaty game, it never reached the heights that it normally would. There was such unrest at the club. Still a lot to do, but the difference is night and day.
Night and day. And credit has to go to the recruitment. You'd imagine Martin Leo, obviously a huge part in that. He knows the game. He might not talk about the modern day phrases, and I think he openly admits he's not too familiar with all the modern day phrases in the games and inside out the tactics, but what he knows is how to manage people, and he knows the game in terms of who he needs. He needs his striker, his centre forward to get hold of the ball, constantly says it, so he's got who there now who's doing that. He needs forward players that go and score and assist and create. He's got that with Duran. Hassan's there as well. Yet to see more of him, but he looked the part last night when he came on. Clever signings at the top end of the pitch, and he's got players at the back and leaders in the team that can keep clean sheets. Must give a shout out to Colby Donovan as well, who is a sort of level down from Johnson right now, but there's no reason why he can't work hard and get towards that. But no, he's doing himself no harm. Colby Donovan deserves a lot of credit. He stood up and fought his corner as well last night.
And Sebastian Pocagnoli was there. We saw him in the box, so you would expect, Kevin, that he'll get his first call up soon.
You would think so, Paul, especially in that right back situation, which has been a bit of a problem for Scotland in the past. Obviously, Tony Ralston's filled in there quite a time, but Tony wasn't a regular for Celtic, so they will be looking for a regular. Whether Colby Donovan can cement his place in the Celtic team now while Alistair Johnson's injured, then that's up to him. But last night, definitely the performance was in the right direction.
So it's down to Rangers, Motherwell, Hibs and Hearts to follow suit tonight, because the coefficient is awful for Scotland and it's plummeting. Celtic, they're not through yet, and the manager, I mean, he's so experienced, Kevin, isn't he? He just doesn't get carried away. In fact, you'll hear him saying, we might need another goal to go through, and they're 3 up at the moment.
I would absolutely be on board with that, because if you look at the game last night, Celtic were very, very clinical. They didn't have too many clear-cut opportunities, but the opportunities they did have, they took them really, really well. Lask, on the other hand, had probably more clear-cut chances, but didn't take them. So they do look a threat, and I think that Celtic will go there. I think they will need a goal, because I think they will score. But listen, 3-0 and a home tie in the Champions League, it's far better than where they were this time last season against Carrat Almighty.
It's money well spent. What's that, 30 million already during the window? More to come. There's still chat. Do they need another midfielder? I'll ask you in a minute. But the manager is happy with the money spent so far?
Well, I think that whatever we paid for Duran, I think he has paid his ticket by now, and he's only into this 4th game. So I don't think it was an awful lot of money when you consider some of the fees that they're talking about for the Premier League. I think he's a real bargain, and what, 4.5 million or something like that there. So yeah, and centre forward has given us a bit of presence there, which I don't think that we had last year, despite Dyson probably winning the league for us single-handedly. But it's nice to have that.
Who did a lot of work as well, didn't he?
He did. A lot of times you see Maida coming to the ball, who was there last year, and it's no his strength. He used to come far too deep beyond the midfield and just lay it back to a centre back if he did get a hold of it. His strength was running in behind. The problem you get at Celtic a lot of the time is there's no space in behind because teams defend deep. So you need somebody like who to come to the ball and take it in. Come to the ball but not too close to the midfield. Take it in, hold it and get your team up the pitch, especially when teams are pressing. He done that last night. He held it in well. Who's definitely an upgrade in terms of number 9 centre forward leading the line. He's a real find as well. Threat in the box. Yeah, looks like a good guy as well, and somebody who you would like to have in your changing room.
Loads of calls coming in. 0808 17 17 700. We hear from Derek McInnes shortly. More from Martin O'Neill as well. We've got some new listeners.
Have we?
I'll tell you in a moment or two. No news coming in. Frederico, they've just arrived and tuned in along with Julia, listening to the programme. More and more, I think they've just arrived in Scotland. Frederico and Tiago, welcome to the Go Radio Football Show with
Welcome.
Scottish Gas. More and more
Where are they
people.
from?
Maryhill.
I'll tell you later. Maryhill. I'll tell you who's from. Somewhere in Glasgow. Kevin was at the game last night. Kevin, good evening.
How you doing, boys? How you doing, Charlie? Kev?
How you doing, Kev?
Kevin, how you
Thank
doing?
you. So what do you make of it?
Oh, last night was the best that I've felt in a long time. European game, even just going into it, just in the build-up, the way we've been playing since the start of the season. I know the Dundee game, the first game of the season, might have been a wee bit of a damp squid, but since then we just keep on kicking through the gears. The front three was outstanding, or front five if you like. But it goes without saying, Duran, man of the match. Those goals were just insane. Negrin's goal and saying, I mean, somebody was saying, I was listening to another radio show, an English show this morning, they were saying, could you compare the last time you've seen better volleys? And I'm not just saying this, people might laugh and think I'm being silly, but that volley for Duran and Negri, they're some of the best half volleys since I've seen live. Since Zidane scored at Hampden in the Champions League final. It's right up there with that volley. Honestly, that the technique involved is so hard. I mean, you asked about Kev, he's a striker, how hard that is.
Let's do it. Kev?
I can't comment. I've never hit a ball that well. But no, listen, that's technique. It's the position they take up with the ball coming in the cross and then being there ready in the hope. But for me, Duran's looks straightforward because it's come straight to him, whereas Nygren's actually guided that with a whip, like a dipping whip into the far corner, which I think was outstanding. But no, that's top-notch striker and winger play there.
Nygren, for me, when you look at his movement, is the most impressive thing for me. He goes to go in the box with his man and he can easily just go and attack the back post. But he almost knows where the ball's going to land. He peels out. He's got that sixth sense, just the ball drops and not quite Zidane at Hampden. I know it's two great strikes, but I know what you mean. Kev. It's brilliant to see. Oh, it's definitely. There's no taking away from them. There's unbelievable strikes. I mean, under that pressure in the Champions League night, under the lights at Celtic Park, to go and be that ruthless and put the two balls in the net is amazing. There's a difference between getting there and not getting there.
Absolutely. The manager, remember, is saying, listen, it's not over yet.
Didn't even have to say it in the dressing room to the players. They know, they absolutely know this, that I think that what we are, I think we've shown, I think we're capable of scoring, and which we probably would need to do. But yeah, they are a fine side. It's not, I'm not playing it down at all. It's just, I think that this game, as I say, our goals were just fantastic and good enough to win any football match. But yeah, we've got a long way to go yet.
And yet, Kevin, 28 seconds into it, and it looked as though you were a goal down. I know it was then offside, but it was some game, like a basketball game, I think the manager said.
But it's refreshing, Paul. Like,
yep.
I was on last night. I've just phoned in tonight again. A wee bit of an assessment of the game, but like I said, Lasker a right good side, Paul. You look at I know this is the first time trying to get into the Champions League, but you look at some of the results they've had in the past 18, 24 months. They've had some good results. They're a right good team. The strikers were a handful. And a special mention for, I think it was going to go out for two other boys, and that is Biller in the centre mid. I mean, I don't know what height he is. He looks really small. I don't think he's as tall as maybe 5'8" or 5'7", but he's a wee workhorse, so he is. But the boy Colby Donovan at right back, my God, I think he was maybe around about the 60-minute mark. He was on his haunches just sucking in air. He was, because the boy ran himself into the ground for his teammates, and with that effort, we're going to do well this season. I think. No, the guy's by far not over. All it takes for Lask to score in the first 10 minutes is nerves again. But things are looking good, Paul. Can't complain. What a result! What a performance!
Kevin, thank you so much for your call. Gary is on the line in Glasgow. Hi, Gary. Good evening.
Evening, lads. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, have you come down from Cloud9 after last night?
Yeah, that was as good a performance as we've seen in a long time, especially in Europe. And as the boys said, to a man, I thought we were excellent last night. You know, a special mention to Colby Donovan. I thought he came of age last night. I was slightly worried about seeing his name in the team sheet, whether it'd be too panicky on the ball. Just try and calm down in terms of what he does during the game. So, you know, absolutely delighted to the boys that he absolutely bossed it last night. And listen, it was a sticky 10 minutes to start the game, and their player obviously Edinburgh was unlucky. He scored twice, very, very tight goals, but he was just slightly off. And after that, as I say, Duran had a couple of nibbles, but what a player this boy is, man. The Colombian whippet, as I was calling him last night, he is absolutely rapid, honestly. I think at one point, he actually won a goal kick. He gave the boy a 2-second head start and still caught him, and the place went absolutely nuts. So, yeah, very, very impressed. But listen, it's only half a job done, and we need to be professional next week. And if we get a chance, and we will get chances, we need to take them.
Charlie, what about the danger moments for Celtic then, especially early on? As a defender, what did you see there? The pace, obviously, of their big striker was one of the
there was a bit of
aspects.
space in behind, especially the first goal. It's a narrow offside, so they've got a wee bit lucky there. Sometimes when there's no pressure on the ball, you need to drop a wee bit. Two options: either your goalkeeper stays higher, or you drop a wee bit. And the safer option is to drop a wee bit and give yourself space to run in and not play the offside and get on the end of that. So there was warning signs there for sure. I think that it feels like Celtic, deep down it feels like Celtic are through, but I think you need to guard. The biggest thing here is guarding against complacency. You don't want to get too excited because there's a long way to go. Celtic need to, the last thing Celtic need is any headlines to put in their changing room to say, I've been in that position myself. We were 2-0 down to Shakhtar Karagandhi away from home. And there was a lot of talk about us being out and it being done, and we ended up winning 3-2 in qualifying. So I know it's 3-0, but if they score early and then you get any sort of complacency creeping in, you need to be on the job. You need to go and treat it as a brand new game and try and get a result away from home.
Was that a factor for you, that people were writing you off and almost laughing?
You looked for everything.
Yeah.
You looked for everything. You seen every wee bit. You could feel it. Everybody thought we were gone and we were out. No, a great performance for us away from home in Kazakhstan, and then we come back and we scored just before half time. The whole place erupts and you think we can do this here, and then you score early second half, or you score in the second half. It's quite late actually, Samaras, and then Forrest gets a winner. But they'll be looking at that. Their manager, his job is to make them believe that can happen. So it's a real dangerous game. They look like they can score goals. You'd almost guarantee they will score goals. It's about I think Celtic can also score, and understanding you need to go and treat the game as a normal game.
Do you think, Charlie, that Celtic will go to Lask with the same team and style and formation as they did at home? Because obviously looking on last night's, the big boy up front for Lask, is it Adrendon or something? I think his name was. Very physical, very quick.
Yeah.
On another night, he may have got 2 or 3 goals, so he's a danger. He doesn't just come to feet. You also see him in behind. There was a long ball came from the left back right over the top of Vickers, and he was in, and Sinsalo ended up making a great save. Do you think that'll then put a wee bit of doubt in the back two and Trusty and Vickers' mind, maybe to play a little bit deeper? But then what that may, sorry, I'm trying to rabbit on here. What that may then do is Celtic drop deeper and invite.
I think there'll be I think there's no doubt about it. You're away from home in Europe. I think there'll be a bit of Celtic. Their plan will be to start like they did. They'll be the same team roughly, unless any injuries happen in training. And you imagine they'll just want to play the game exactly the same. But mentally, you know what it's like, Kev. Mentally, you start to drop back because you've got a lead to hold on to.
Yeah. Yep.
Now that then has a knock-on effect. Your defence drop, your midfield drop, your strikers drop, and there will be an element of counter-attack played by Celtic. But they've showed at Tannadice they can play that way. They've got pace on the break. They'll have Hassan can come on, who's really quick. Duran's really quick. Yang's quick. I think Celtic throughout the game will start to slowly but surely move back as the game goes, but they'll try and start exactly the same, and they won't want to start the game, and their game plan won't be let's sit in and hope for the best. They'll try and just play the game as normal, and then eventually psychologically they'll move back, I'd imagine.
So many players were involved in the attacks. I think was it 6 passes in one of them there. I saw it on social media. Having watched it last night, Kieran Tierney, a word for him, back in top form, and his delivery into the box is creating some of these positions, these chances.
Down the left hand side, he's shown his worth. The balls in the box are causing problems. They're forcing teams to defend. They'd clear it. They had it clear, and that's where the 2 goals come from. So he's a huge player for Celtic, as we know.
You've all mentioned Kobe Donovan, and Gary, the manager, spoke about the young player afterwards.
He really did great. He's got a big heart, and that's nice to see. Really nice to see. And he's a local lad as well too, and loves it. Loves the football club. Loves playing. His enthusiasm is boundless, and he stuck to his task brilliantly tonight. He just goes for it, he's always trying to improve his game. He's trying to improve his first touch, things like this here. But overall, I don't think you can compensate for the heart that he has.
Gary, do you feel it's the right thing not to play this weekend? Because the manager does say that's only game 5 so far this season. If spots and maybes, it's now not happening. Do you think it was the right call, Gary?
Yeah. I think with the exception of hindsight, Paul, I think had we known how the result was going to go and how the game was going to go, I think. It would have been more ideal now to have obviously played the game and possibly put a further gap between us and Rangers and and made that gap 8 points. But I think with how massive this game was, what it means in terms of financial gain to the club, and obviously the disaster that was carried out at Almaty last year, I don't think the club could take any chances. And I think similar to the likes of Hearts and Hibs and Motherwell and Rangers during, I think it is the right decision for all clubs to take that postponement.
What do you think you still need, Gary, between now and the end of the window?
I think, to be honest, I think we're looking a lot stronger, obviously, than what we were in the last couple of weeks, because when you look at the midfield especially, all the players that we've signed so far have kind of hit the ground running, and obviously Hassan's got a few more weeks to get up to full fitness. Bauer looked impressive last night, so I still think we need a centre mid, somebody to replace Engels, and hopefully the two players that we're linked with, one or two of those will come in. Personally, I would have liked to have seen Paolo Bernardo stay at the club and get a proper chance in that role, but I think definitely out wide left, possibly wide right, and the goalkeeper. So I think 4 bodies. I think if you get three out the 4 bodies in, genuinely, the way we're playing, I think we'll win the lot.
Kevin?
I don't think you're needing anybody at wide right. I think Duran will do well, and if he doesn't do well, we'll chuck in Hassan in there. So
yeah, sorry, Kev, I meant the defence.
Aye, right back possibly. Aye,
yeah.
no, I was kind of thinking there. He lost the plot here.
And the name of Nico Sugar keeps coming up all the time. Look out for that one. Maybe Hajduk split.
Listen, Celtic are in a position where they've brought in real quality for a good number in terms of it was at 40 million, somebody said. And then whereas what they've put out and made for 10 million, Engels for 22, they're probably still in, they've actually made money through the window. So in terms of business, the criteria that Celtic always look for, young players, 23, 24, develop them, move them on, that model looks like it's going to work again. But a couple more additions, Celtic will be ready for the Champions League group stages if they can take care of last next week.
Charlie?
I think it's important that in a moment of strength you still look to strengthen, because right now sitting back you go, oh, everything's looking great. I mean, you can look at Colby Don and go, we're sorted at right back if Johnson goes, but I still think that if Johnson goes, somebody needs to come in at right back. I think Scales is there at cover centre back and left back. You could argue maybe a left back to come in and do a job, but I would say that's maybe the least of your worries. If you can get a midfielder in, I think would be a big replacement for Engels, because you've got a Tatty there who it looks like he's going to leave as well. So I think it depends a lot on who leaves, but the squad's looking in good shape.
Gary, thank you so much for your call. And to Kevin before, 08 08 17 17 700.
football show with Scottish Gas.
Paul Cooney here with Kevin Kyle, the former Rangers, Hearts, Kilmarnock, Sunderland and Scotland star. Charlie Mulgrew, formerly of Celtic, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Blackburn Rovers and many others, Fleetwood as well. And Scotland, of course, 44 caps. So we've got real football knowledge in here tonight.
Have
Kevin
we?
looks askance. Yeah, they're coming in later. Barry and Mark will be here shortly. No, top team in tonight. Charlie, you must be feeling good after the Celtic performance last night. And now we're looking forward to Rangers tonight. Kevin, does it put extra pressure then on Rangers, given that, or do you use that as a spur if you're a Rangers player, which you've been? You go, right, come on, tonight, let's go out and make the fans happy the way they were against St Mirren on Sunday.
I think it's going to be extremely difficult for the Rangers fans to get super happy about being in the Conference League, because obviously Europa League was their goal. They unfortunately got knocked out last week, but the kind of dangle carrot is they've got the Conference League. It's a competition that when you actually think of the teams that have won it in the past, it's a competition that probably maybe likes the Rangers, if they can get things going, get the new signings in and get consistent performances week in, week out. It's a competition I would like to think they could go far in. Whether that's a thing that Derek McInnes is looking at, but I would hope so. But tonight, obviously, the objective is to win the game and try and win the game comfortably, try and win the game with a bit of swagger, try and get some new faces on the score sheet, try and get a bit more cohesion with the team, because obviously Sunday's performance against St Mirren was definitely far better than what's been produced up to now. I thought they were... Listen, I didn't think St Mirren defensive were overly impressive, but Rangers still had to go and do a number, and the fact they got 5 goals, that'll give some of the guys some confidence. So it'll be interesting to see what team he goes with tonight. Does he keep the same team from Sunday? Obviously Shankland being the captain, the kind of marquee signing through the summer, does he come back in? So there's a lot of questions to be asked, but ultimately tonight's about getting another positive result and building on that.
Charlie, what are you thinking for Rangers tonight?
They need to build on what they've done. They were under severe pressure there. They go and beat St Mirren. Now they need to build on that. I'd play the exact same team if I was Derek McInnes. I would go again with the same team, same starting team, and build on it and see if they can build a bit of cohesion, like Kev said there. They need to win tonight. They need to continue to move forward and win games, and that becomes a habit. So yeah, that'll be the message, I imagine, for the manager.
Here is Derek McInnes speaking about his captain, of course, who was on the bench last weekend, came on, but he started warming the bench.
Yeah, I think I said that at the time when I spoke to Lawrence, just because the captain doesn't guarantee anything. He accepted that. You know, he's not a daft boy. He's not going to start stamping his feet and saying this and that. You know, it's somebody has to be club captain, and you know, having the benefit of working with Lawrence previously, he's a brilliant captain, absolutely brilliant captain, a brilliant boy, and he's got a lot to offer. And I think everybody can maybe look too much at that, to be honest. Obviously, you want your captain to have a big influence on and off the pitch, and I believe Lawrence will have that. So for me, it's a non-question, but I understand how people might see more of it.
And there's a lot of chat about not enough Scottish players playing, Kevin, but Finlay Curtis desperate to play.
It's been tough. I think obviously they've brought in more people in my position, but you just need to keep on fighting, and I think that's the main thing. You need to try and make your mark at the club, and I think doing that in training, and obviously coming into the games, you need to do that. So.
Aye, Finlay Curtis he's came in and done well. Obviously, we went and loaned to Kilmarnock last season, got the Scotland call up, started well at the beginning of the season, got that. I think was it a bug he had in one of the games, so he maybe didn't perform to the levels that he was asked of the other week. But he came on as a sub on Sunday against St Mirren, and again for Finlay Curtis, he's a young kid trying to make his way in his game, just like Kobe Donovan's trying to do at Celtic. So you have to kind of give these guys a wee bit more time. He's in a prominent position there, but the difficulty for Finlay Curtis, along with every other Rangers player, is that they're not performing to the heights the fans expect. So when that happens, it becomes added pressure. So when you're a young kid trying to make your way in the game and that pressure's been put on you at such an early age, it can become a wee bit overwhelming, a wee bit difficult. So he's got to understand that really early. He's got to ride through it and just be really positive and try and do the things that is why Derek's picking him in the team in the first place. Get down the wing, get balls in the box. If you're doing that, then there isn't an issue. So
I also think when you're a young Scottish player, you need to go above and beyond. I think you're the first one to drop out if things aren't going well. We've seen that. His performance second half away in Europe, in Poland. I've not seen that for a Rangers winger for years in terms of getting to the byline, being positive, making things happen. But again, the next game comes, he's no great, maybe not feeling well, whatever, and then he's the one to miss out. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh, let's feel sorry for him. It's up to him to then understand that, and you need to be at it every single game so you can't be dropped. Kobe Donovan done himself absolutely no harm last night. All of a sudden people are going, oh, he's the first choice right back as it stands when Johnson's injured. And it's about stepping up every single time, because the minute you, for whatever reason, when you're a young player that comes through a system and you're no one that's signed for a foreign country at Celtic and Rangers, you're the first one people go, you're not good enough. You need to be on it constantly. And Finlay Curtis can't moan about it. Next time he gets the chance, which I think he deserves, needs to step up and make sure he is at it every single game. MD that's ever come through at Celtic or Rangers or made it as a Scottish player there has made their mark and understood that, and it's just part of territory.
And look at James Penrice. He had to go away and come back and then be recognised and play with that confidence, and everyone saying, oh, what a signing.
Exactly. But if he'd come through the Rangers youths, it would have been more difficult for him, maybe because he'd have been judged maybe harshly. But he stepped up and done well so far, Penrice, and had a great debut, but it's only a debut.
When you're young, Paul, and you're getting picked through, coming through the ranks, it comes down to character and how quickly that character can develop as a kid. If you think back to maybe, I don't know how long it would be, Kieran Tierney breaking into the Celtic team at the age he did, and then became a stalwart left back, got his move to Arsenal, and then he's came back again, and now what you're seeing is a product of something like really, really good. There's no reason why a Finlay Curtis can't do that, and these other young, like James Penrice has went away and came back, Ross McCrory's went away and came back. Sometimes you can stay at a big club too long as a kid because you end up, the years pass, but the games don't add up. So sometimes you have to go away and get that experience, even though you may not like it. But that's where you go away and you learn that character part of the game that then sets you better when you come back. But whereas now Finlay Curtis is in the team, he has to show character, he has to show what he's doing in training. That's the reason why Derek's picking him in the team. The second half, the performance he had coming on against the team in Europe and in Poland was outstanding. Yeah. And it was basic because he did what was asked of him. Yeah. Get to the byline, get cross in the box, cut inside, put balls in the box. Really, really effective. And if you make defenders defend, it's going to put pressure on teams. So for me,
I think also we talk about Kobe Donovan rather than Martin O'Neill mentioned the word heart. He's got a lot of heart. Now, I would rather have a player with a lot of heart than a lot of ability if there was a choice between two. Yeah. Obviously, you need ability to play for Celtic and Rangers, but the biggest thing you need is desire, heart, and resilience, and Kobe Donovan is showing that. To get as far as he's got in his career so far, he's shown a lot of resilience.
See, when the manager looked at you and Virgil van Dijk, what did he say a similar thing? What have you got, Charlie? You've got heart and ability. Virgil, what's he got? Did he have both?
He had no heart, and he learned every single thing he knows from me. He'll tell you that. Exactly, so we'll get him on the phone now if you want.
It's so true in life, isn't it?
Yep. Paul, that's what I was going to interrupt you on. See, when we talked about Scottish football-wise, I know many Scottish kids coming through. We have loads of kids in Scotland with amazing technical ability. But what Charlie's just described in heart, desire, character, that's the part that doesn't come together. And if they have that together along with the technical ability, we end up with the likes of the Kieran Tierneys of the world and other players that have made it through. So
I think if you'd asked Finlay Curtis and Kobe Donovan, I'm mentioning they two right now because they're the two young players coming through at the Old Firm. It was there better players in their under 14s, 15s teams, 16s teams, 17s. They would both say yes, there was far better players. So what's the difference? They might not know it, but the fact they had the desire and the resilience to go through the tough times is why they're where they are.
Gerard's on the line in a lorry on the way to England, a Celtic fan from the game last night. Hi, Gerard. Good evening.
Hello there. Hello.
All right, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Just a point, Charlie and Kyle. I watched the game. I drive down to England every night. I come back up. But I watched the highlights when I got home through the morning. And it was obviously everybody did a great game, but I thought it was just one weakest link was Trusty. I thought Trusty, see for the one that was offside to the set goal for the header, I thought it was miles behind the striker. You know, and a couple of times I've seen him, it was kind of shady. You know, just out the full lot of the team. I thought he was just a slightly the weakest link.
Charlie?
Well, I think if you had to pick one player, I mean, it was a team performance, a positive performance. You had to pick if you had to pick one player maybe that didn't have his greatest game, you would probably point towards Trusty. We spoke about it off air before. We were wondering, debating whether Scales is a better player than Trusty. Personally, I'm a bit biased towards Scales because I see a wee bit of myself in him. And I think that Scales is a better player than Trusty. And But I can understand why Trusty's in the team, because things are going really well at the moment, and I think he'll know that Scales is breathing down his neck, and it'll only take a couple of performances not to go his way for Scales to be in. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that was maybe the one performance that was maybe no up to scratch, but I think Trusty deserves credit because he has been good at times this season. He's kept clean sheets and he's been part of the teams. He scores on Saturday and keeps a clean sheet, although they hit the woodwork a few times. There was no goals that went in, so he does deserve a lot of credit. But again, he's another one where I feel that people are just waiting on a couple of shaky moments and then they think, right, he needs to come out of the team. But listen, it's part and parcel. The good thing is Carlton Vickers is beside whoever's there and he's a steady influence.
Kevin, what do you see as a striker? Would you be targeting Trusty as opposed to Carlton
listen,
Vickers?
if I was playing up against Celtic tomorrow night, I would definitely be sitting beside Austin Trusty. I just feel I could get something out of him. I think his best game he's had for Celtic was possibly last season. We played against Rangers. He was really, really good. Defended as if his life depended on it. Whereas sometimes I see Trusty in games where he just switches off at certain moments, and those certain moments seem to cost Celtic. Last night, you're talking about if you look at Carter Vickers' reaction to the ball going over his head and then the boys scoring, the first thing Carter Vickers does, he points at Trusty just to say, why are you not tight enough? And that's just those moments where you switch off. And Charlie will tell you, when you're playing against somebody that's 6'3", the boy that headed the goal in the end, if you give him an inch and you're not tight enough, then and he's getting a clear jump at it, it's an easy goal for him. Whereas see if you're touch tight, he might not get off the ground and he doesn't get the header in. So it's those moments where you've just got to be switched on, and next week he definitely has to be.
Gerard?
Yep, no problem. That was all I wanted to know and say.
Good man.
Happy driving,
Gerard.
Okay.
What are you bringing
Thank
back?
you very much.
What are
Thank
you bringing back from south of the border? You going down for the cheap booze and bringing it back? The bulk.
No. Unfortunately, it's stuff that comes from France, and then I bring it up from Haydock to Coatbridge, and I just repeat it every night.
Wow.
So it's just food. Unfortunately, it's no drink.
No more questions.
Jerry, thank you so much for your call. Cheers. Thank
Jerry.
you. 08 17 17 700. So many Celtic fans on, and they're the change in 12 months is remarkable. The front three this time last year was who for the three games? Obviously, who's
Forrest,
in it this time?
Maeda and Yang.
Right, Forrest obviously great player. Yang has done well.
Yeah.
And Maeda was Maeda. He was fantastic.
Yeah, but we spoke about it. We were crying out, weren't we, on this show for Celtic needing forward players? And if you remember, then later in the window, Tenetti came in and started okay, and we're thinking brilliant. Yeah. I just think this year Duran and who are just another level in terms of their ruthlessness in front of goal. One chance for Duran. I mean, his goal at the weekend at Dundee United, do you see it at Tannadice where he breaks in the box, and it's so clever the way the defender for Dundee United is ready to clear the ball, and he puts his foot in front of him, takes a kick and just scoops it into the net. It's so clever. He looks like somebody that's real top player and could move for big money.
If you've not seen it again, Kevin, you can go back to the platform that is Premier Sports, where Charlie is, and some great. Did you enjoy doing co-coms for the first time? Ross is on asking.
That was my second time. I done the actually third time. I done the done a Scotland game before.
Do you like doing co-commentary?
It's good, it's a really good game.
Different.
Really good way to watch a game because you're really focused on everything. Bit of pressure as well because you're constantly talking for the 90 minutes. But I enjoyed it. Paul. It's good.
The TNT, the two keepers last night, Kasper Schmeichel and Joe Hart on the coverage.
I felt a wee bit of tension with Kasper. I don't know. Did you see it
with Martin?
I seen a wee bit of tension. Did you feel that?
Martin had a wee dig at him.
Had a wee dig and then tried to retract it, but I think he was being honest. He turned up when he wanted. Days off when he liked.
And then I noticed Kasper Schmeichel saying, "Oh yeah, he's a good manager. Good manager." Yeah. Martin O'Neill, good manager.
Could feel the tension, couldn't you?
Well, would you not be saying he's a great manager? He's a legend. Come on, Kasper. But Kasper Schmeichel was in good form there. But yeah, I wondered as well. Right, we're not here to promote TNT Sport. Although we'll be sending off a copy of this. We are available. Not at all. We only want to be in the Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Wonder what the team sheet will look like tomorrow night. Tonight we're talking about Celtic winning 3-0 against the Austrian champions Lask. And we'll be talking about Rangers in action tonight against Jablonec at 7:45 kickoff. Motherwell against Freiburg, the Germans, at 7:30. Ghent, the Belgians, against Hibs at 7:30. And Hearts at home, the Hearts up against Rapid Vienna, 7:45. Listen, football lovers, it's just amazing, isn't it? The number of games on at this time of year is absolutely phenomenal. But not so many at the top flight this weekend, although we have the Dundee Derby, which Charlie Mulgrew, you've played in with distinction.
Yes, I'm doing it for we're covering at Premier Sports as well. Should be a good game.
Too many plugs for them, but no, I started it. Yeah, looking forward to the weekend. But there's a few people saying, was that a mistake not to have the games for Rangers and Celtic? Take it whichever way this weekend because of the European games. I mean, would Rangers, Kevin, if they'd known they're not in the Europa League, would they have said, keep playing in the league? They got a win last weekend. I know it's the Cup, but let's keep a momentum. Try and build momentum. Plus, we're only 5 games into the season.
No, I can understand what you're getting there, Paul. But the reality is that the magnitude of Celtic trying to get into the Champions League and Rangers, they've had 4 or 5 games Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, Tuesday, whatever the dates have been. If you look at last week with the likes of Yokota coming off tired and injured, maybe just needing a rest. I know you're saying it's early in the season, but players are still trying to find their level of fitness. They're still trying to get that match fitness. It's all right being fit. There's a difference between being fit and being match fit. So for me, taking the break, I think has been good for both teams because I think it allows them to try and put their best foot forward in Europe, and that showed last night with Celtic. And come next Tuesday, I'm sure Celtic will be a lot fresher, and hopefully for Rangers tonight, if they can get a positive result, then next week they'll be fresher for that, because it's not just about the two teams. We need it as a Scottish, the coefficient, Paul. Sure. We need to be qualifying because we're getting further and further behind our teams and making it more difficult. Okay, are you on the spot now, ready to answer a technical question,
Go
Charlie?
Yep.
Kevin as well. Mark's on the line. Hi, Mark. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks for first-time caller to the programme. So I've actually got a question for Charlie Mulgrew as the defender on the panel. Hello. So it's more of a forward-looking question. What's really interesting to me, I was at the match last night, and obviously we know that Who had that hat-trick, first half hat-trick, and then I don't think anybody expected, or maybe some people expected, that Danilo would come out and sort of equal him as being a sort of potential threat. So my question is, as a defender, what do you do when you have, I can kind of guess what you do when you know there's a big man up front who's a threat. But what do you do when there's an additional threat and somebody else that you maybe hadn't anticipated or thought of as being a potential threat? And then in Celtic's case, you have Nygren, who's now the persistent threat. And then I was at the match last night, and Hassan certainly showed me flashes of potential that he might be a fourth threat. So my question is, what would you do as a defender when you have it coming from all angles? Like, how do you anticipate other teams lining up to defend 4 potential threats coming from the front line?
Well, when you're a defender and a centre back, your job, you can't worry too much about the 4 players you mentioned there. I think between you and Carter Vickers, if you're talking about Celtic, you would be dealing with one player. If you were against Celtic, for talking sake, you'd be saying, right, me and my other centre back will deal with Who. So one in front at times, one behind. This is our player now. What you need to be aware of then is Nygren, who's playing a sort of midfield forward hybrid role where he plays the number 10 and he comes in. So as the ball's wide, you imagine he'll venture into the box. So you have to be aware of him coming in because you don't want to always be spare in the box or centre back. So as the ball goes wide, one of these probably gets tight to the striker and the other one's looking for Nygren coming in, and that's used then covered. Other than that, you're relying on midfield coming in and cutting the edge of the box off. Last night, Nygren's goal and Duran's goal, that's not a defender's issue. Could they have cleared the ball better? Yes, probably. Get it away from the centre of your goal. But as it gets headed there, you need a midfielder to be in his face. You need a midfielder to be challenged for that ball in the volley. The midfielder, the problem is the midfielders have collapsed in the box to anticipate the midfielders running in the box. Duran and Nygren have both went to go in the box. They've took a step if you look back. Then the midfielder who's matching them has then looked at the ball. At that point, he's sank into the box towards his midfielders, towards his defenders. And that then, when you think you're being safe, you're actually causing them more hassle because you're dropping in their toes and then the ball drops the edge of the box. and then you go 2 goals. So to answer your question, how do you deal with the threat? You can't overthink there being too many threats. You do your job and rely on your teammates to do their job. As a centre-back, you've got a striker and a 10 coming in, and you take care of they two. And whatever happens for there needs to be fluent. You defend who comes into your space. And it's important you don't follow these guys everywhere as well. You can't follow them out all the pitch. You've got to let them move, and somebody else will come into your space. And sometimes you might be picking up a winger and your striker might be wide. But it's important you're always talking and organising and seeing the picture that's coming your way.
Kevin, what would you say to Mark?
Oh no, listen, as a centre forward, when you're up against 2 centre halves, if I was up against, say, Carter Vickers and Austin Trussy, I'm looking at where the ball is in relation to where I am. Sometimes I wouldn't, like Hugh did last night. Maybe didn't get involved in the game quite a lot, but he was there in the moments that were key, holding the ball up. Like Charlie said earlier, Martin asked for somebody just to hold the ball up, get out wide, link the play. But it's when it goes wide, I don't think, oh, right, I'm going to try and go on Carter Vickers because I'm taller than him, or I'm going to go on Trusty because I'm stronger than him. I'm just looking at the ball out wide thinking, where can I find space, and hope the ball finds a space and I'm in the space there. I can't then think about defenders, because if I think about defenders, they'll just grab me and then I can't get a running jump, and that's how you defend against a bigger forward. If you allow a bigger forward like the boy up front for last night to get a run on you, then you're in trouble. Whereas forwards think about space. They think about the what ifs. Is this ball going to go between these 2 defenders? Well, that's where I'm going to make a run. If it doesn't come, then there's not a lot I can do, because it's just you're taking a gamble. Whereas on the other hand, the defenders, they aren't taking a gamble. They're deciding, right, I'm taking him, and you're hoping that your other centre half's taking the other one, the 10, or your centre midfielder that sits is sitting in the box.
It's also a fine line for centre backs. So if you picture the ball wide and centre backs are in the box picking up, just say it was me against you, Kev. If I was playing against Kev, there would be a fine line of, I need to pick up him because he's a threat in there. But I also don't want to get attached to him so he can drag me wherever he likes. Because if I'm a centre-back and Kev then peels to the very back post, and I'm the near centre-back, if you picture it, and I go all the way to the back post with him, I'll leave a gap for the 10 or somebody to run in. So it's getting the balance of marking space, the dangerous space, but also, if Kev comes into my space and he's the player in there, I want to get body contacts. I don't want him to jump on me. And it's getting that balance right. It's a fine line.
Mark, is that helpful?
It is. I've got tons more questions, but maybe that's for another night. Thanks very much, both of you.
All right, Mark, where's your accent from?
Well, I was actually born in Scotland, but I lived in the States for 20 years, and then I moved to the Netherlands, and they all speak English with an American accent because of the television. So I have this hodgepodge hybrid Scottish-American accent, I think, at the present.
That's decent.
Mark, yeah, indeed, I wish I had one like it.
I know we were rambling on about there, but I hope that...
No, it's really good. Great insight. Mark, thank you so much. Don't be a stranger. First-time caller. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Cheers, Mark.
So many people making the switch, honestly. More and more people.
Good question. That was a really good question.
Yeah. There's so much to come up, Rangers fans. We're going to hear more from Derek McInnes as you'll be getting in the cars, the buses and all the rest of it, heading for the Tube. You won't hear us in the Tube, but it's going to be busy tonight. Kevin, what do you think? 50,000 at Ibrox? Or...
I'm not convinced it'll be 50,000. Really? I think it'll be close. I think
49.5.
49.99 just to round it off. But listen, whatever crowd's in there tonight, they just need to get behind the team, because I think Sunday showed that there's a good side in there, and they have to give people time.
And the Motherwell fans in big numbers, surely, for the game with Freiburg, which kicks off in 90 minutes' time. News is next, and then we're back.
on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
I'm going to tell you something about Kevin Kyle and Charlie Mulgrew. They love their football. The careers they had, amazing. I'll tell you what, they love their golf though.
Yeah.
During the
Any
news
golf
there as
callers?
well. Yeah.
Can we get some golf callers in?
I'm just waiting on Go Ready doing a golf show.
I'm bringing clubs in next week just to practice my backswing in the break.
Excellent. Yeah, I see you were up at the Aberdeen area.
Played
the other day.
Played Aberdeen Trump in a pro-am yesterday.
Right. How did you play?
Played brilliant for 4 holes. I was putting for an eagle and then he gets a lightning call off.
The weather.
Went and sat in for an hour. But didn't even need to be called off.
Oh dear.
I would rather have been struck with lightning than walked in. I was enjoying the course that much. And then we were in for half an hour. Rhythm was broke. They turned it into a 9-hole competition. I think if you had to ask every single person on the course, do you want to take the chance of getting hit with lightning to finish this 18? I think everybody would have said yes. Because what's the chances of getting, do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, thankfully it didn't happen. Charlie, were you well received in Aberdeen? Did they remember you from your time there at the Dons?
There was a few fans there, aye.
Yeah. The football people play golf
yes,
there?
Jim Layton was playing.
Jim
Layton was playing. Didn't recognise him when he had Vaseline in his eyebrows, but he was there.
He did the Kiltwalk last year. I saw him there.
Great guy,
in Aberdeen,
Jim.
isn't he?
Brilliant
keeper.
guy.
Man United, Aberdeen, Scotland, our most capped goalkeeper. Amazing.
Great guy. It's a nerve-wracking experience. So Paul, see turning up there, you've got a caddy, you're chipping with the pro. Oh, I was chipping on the chipping green. So I said to my caddy, what's the etiquette here? Etiquette, because there's obviously pros practicing that are preparing for the competition. So he said, just grab a bay, you're fine. You grab a wee bit of the chipping bit. So there was a pro in the bunker, and I'm chipping away. Thinned the first one right through, so I was a bit embarrassed. Then I started chipping. I hit one and missed him by that in the bunker. I bent it round him and nearly hit him. I thought, I need to move here.
I did start it myself. Let's go on the lines because the Rangers fans are calling in big numbers ahead of the game tonight. Paul's on his way. Hi, Paul. Good evening. Paul.
Hi, guys.
Hiya.
Hi, Paul.
What to the game, Paul? Hiya. Listen, mine's just a strange one, Paul.
Okay.
As much as I've gone to the game and all that, it's actually about coaching and things like that. So I wanted to ask Charlie and Kevin as professionals. I've talked to a guy that does a bit of coaching that just got me thinking with the new Scotland manager and everything else, and he was saying coaching young kids and the board down at Wilfred Nancy was famous for and all that, and he's saying we're talking about winners and things like that. He said I get frustrated when you see a winger get to the 18-yard box and then turn them back rather than just cross the ball in. They said it comes down to a lot of coaching, particularly with kids and stuff like that, things you can do and things you can't do. And I was just asking the guys, do you think one of the problems with Scotland that we're no progression? I know Steve Clark's got us to major tournaments and whatnot, but do you think we're over coaching kids? Basically, is what I'm asking, rather than just letting them enjoy playing football.
Okay, are we overcoaching the kids? Kevin Kyle.
There is an element of that in grassroots football, Paul, and that's probably down to the way modern day football's arrived. You know, we've had Pep Guardiola come into Man City and do the tippy-tappy stuff, which has been amazing possession-based football, and it works if you've got the right personnel and stuff. It works amazing, right? But at grassroots football, it doesn't work because kids are just learning. It's like when they get into school and learn education, they don't know how to add when they get into primary one, but by the time they leave 7th year doing algebra. So the point is that sometimes you just need to allow the kids to express themselves. And as a coach, what I found, like I look back in my coaching careers with kids, and sometimes it was a wee bit over the top, but that was because I maybe saw some good in the kids and I wanted them to try and bring out the best in them. Maybe it was the way I went about it wasn't maybe particularly great, but kids, you need to allow them to express themselves and have their own ideas, but at the same time you don't correct them. What you do is you give them alternatives. I found that was the best way of coaching kids, is that if a kid did something, run down the wing and didn't cross it, I would maybe say, what happens if you maybe tried this, or what happens if you thought maybe doing that, instead of saying, well, why did you no cross, you should have crossed that. Give them an alternative, give them something to think about, so next time when they play, when they're running down the wing, they might think, you know what, I might just try this time, because that's how kids learn. And listen, every respect to every grassroots coach out there, because it is a big part of your life that's taken away. And you keep it simple for the kids then, because we overcomplicate it. A lot of the language people want to talk about all these new terms that they love these days. I think kids just want to play football. They do, Paul, because the thing is, I talked about it with Aidan the other week about winning, right? Winning is important, because in football, when you get to a professional level, that's what it's all about. You have to win. So you have to install that in the kids at a younger age. We talk about in Scottish football not introducing competitive football until the kids are in first year. So what I've found is that kids learn to lose in first year, and they get upset and they start crying on the park. That's a life skill that should have been honed 4 or 5 years ago. But for me, there's so many ways of looking at how things could be better and what could be better. It's going to need a big think tank to come up with a solution that works for Scottish football.
Charlie?
I think over-coaching is worse than no coaching. I think we could be doing worse than just letting kids, as you say, Paul, play 7-a-side. Put a pitch out for young grassroots teams, academy teams, and letting boys go and play and express themselves, make mistakes, learn the game. I've heard about in Spain where kids turn up, they have a laugh, they enjoy themselves, and the manager puts them in 7-a-side teams, 6-a-side teams, 5-a-side teams, and he'll maybe come in and give a coaching point, as in body shape, how to receive the ball. But you need to be sure you understand the game first before you start dishing out information, because bad coaching is worse than no coaching, and you're better letting the kid find out for themselves. Agree, let the kids play and enjoy it. I would say, for a young age, right up until, you always enjoy the game, but right up until they're 18, 19, just let them go and enjoy the game, fall in love with the game, and let them learn on the job, instead of giving tactical advice and too much instruction. I see grassroots teams training and they're standing about doing a passing drill, and you can stand for 5 minutes without touching the ball. Get them, make it nice and fast, make it fun, make it enjoyable, and get them in a game and let them play. Give them shooting, let them play, let them go and play with their mates, because we're far too... I totally agree. There's too much. Over-coaching is worse than no coaching. We're
going to do a special soon on it. It comes up every night just now. Richard Foster, Andy Walker last night were talking about it, and I think Richard said sometimes it's too much about the coaches, because they're now trying to be a Pep Guardiola or a Jurgen Klopp or a...
Kids are too immature to understand the modern... Not the modern game. Kids are too immature to understand the maturity of professional football. So we're trying to coach them at a young age things that adults are struggling with. So I look at my journey. I turned up at Sunderland at 17 because a guy in a jacket says, Kev, do you want to go for a trial at Sunderland? Off I went. But what they did was they turned me into a footballer. They showed me what I needed to do to be better. Whereas we're showing kids these things at 8 and 9 year old that they don't really understand. And then what we end up having, by the time we get to 14, 15, we have robots. And they're all doing the same things. There's nobody expressing themselves. People talk about 16-year-olds in Scotland wouldn't get a chance. If Messi was 16 in Scotland, he would fall through the net. That's a lot of nonsense. At 16-year-olds in Scotland, you need to be exceptionally talented to make a difference. These 16-year-olds we talk about that aren't getting an opportunity, do they leave that club and go and do well otherwise? I've yet to see it. We have exceptions. If we look at Lennon Miller and a couple others, but there's not too many. But there is no right or wrong reason. But Charlie makes a good point in bad coaching is worse.
Paul, you're a Rangers fan. Come back to you in a second. Your manager, Derek McInnes, was speaking about up front. How's he going to do it? What the formation's like? What's it going to be like tonight? Does he play the team, as Kevin mentioned, that won at the weekend? Here's Derek McInnes.
Yeah, I think it is. I said after the game, it's not ironic, but it's we showed we're probably more attacked. We've had plenty of possession, plenty of penalty box entries in most of the games, but I actually thought we got... moved up and down the pitch a lot quicker. We got support beyond Ryan, our main striker. We had good midfield support, we had good transitional play, and I really enjoyed watching a lot of it. We've done a video for the team to look back at today, a lot of the qualities we showed, both winning the ball in good areas and what we did with it. And it's I've always liked to play with 2 strikers, but we made the decision to go with 1. Thinking that St Mirren would fill the middle of the pitch as well, and we thought the game suited us to play with 1 striker. And ultimately, sometimes you've got to have the right combination of strikers as well. Sometimes you can only play 2 strikers if it's really worth it. And a lot of the time those strikers have got to be a bit different. And we made the decision to go with 1 striker at the weekend, and certainly paid dividends in that game. It's not to say that that's always what we're going to do.
Kevin, do you think he's getting closer to knowing the kind of 11 that we'd want to start with?
I think he's nearly there. I think he's probably about 75% there. I think there's a couple of question marks over some. I look at the striking options in terms of Nadiri or Shankland. I think they're it's a toss of a coin who plays between them at this moment in time. Lawrence came on Sunday, and to be fair to Lawrence, he was unlucky not scoring the one he missed. So he will always have opportunities and score goals. And I think once he starts scoring, you probably find that he will be the more natural centre forward for Rangers at this minute in time. Nadiri probably offers a bit more in terms of work rate and being busy and around the box, troubling defenders, which then allows other players to get involved in the box. So for me, he's nearly there. The other question mark I would ask would be big Manny Fernandez at the back. Although people are questioning, he's lazy, whatever, what have you. We don't really know what's going on. He has got all the capabilities of being a really good centre half. He's just, his mind's just maybe elsewhere at the minute.
Can that be sorted, do you think?
Oh, definitely, because the window can close, and then he knows that he's staying to Rangers till whenever. But at this minute in time, he just looks a wee bit lackadaisical, if that's a term. But he just, if he was to get out of second gear, man, what a player he could be. And obviously Charlie watches him, and he'll probably better place to comment. But what do you think?
So for that, I've given my views on Fernandez in terms of it doesn't sense danger. For me, I think he's relied on his speed probably for a young age, and he's still got a bit of learning in that area. But just going back to Derek McInnes saying there, he prefers a 4-4-2. When you play a 4-4-2, the way Derek McInnes does, with his wingers wide and his two strikers, it suits a direct style of play. Because if you want to play through the lines, you need to have more than two midfielders in there. Because you need to have people. You need to overload the central area. Now, Motherwell played with two strikers a lot last year, but what they did was they brought their wingers inside the pitch to create four in the midfield area, and they pushed their full-backs on. So they built up actually non a 4-4-2, if you know what I mean. So Derek McInnes isn't tactically, how do I say it? Doesn't tactically train his team to play that way. If he plays 4-4-2, Derek McInnes, it's 4-4-2. It doesn't really talk about. He's not a big tactician. He's quite simple, Derek McInnes. We've seen it with Hearts. So if you're going to play with two strikers, you need to play direct. That's why when he put another midfielder on, he gets more people naturally in there, because without doing tactical work, he's got three in there. So that's why it suits Rangers better to probably go with the three, because they're a team that like to dominate the ball, and that gets a third midfielder in there.
What are Yablonet's going to be like tonight? Derek McInnes was asked.
I think it's difficult to really assess who's favourites and who no. I'm not really born who's favourites, but for me it's just it's a game that we put the emphasis on ourselves to go and win it. I know you've watched them, but sometimes you can never really tell, because obviously they're playing teams in their own league, and the teams that they've played previously in Europe are maybe not been at the same level as what we are, but at the same time you can only take on what's in front of you. And you know, they're clearly a well organised team, like most teams are. They've got a few good individuals who can make the game a bit more problematic for you, like most teams, but you know, we feel as though we've got a good handle on what they are, and they can change from shape to shape a lot of times, so even within the same personnel, so we've got to be ready for that. But ultimately, I'm just going back to what we said earlier, I'm just really want to try and concentrate on us finding our level and us getting big performances from us individually, because if I feel as though if we can do that, then although I'm expecting a tough game, I expect it to be tougher for them.
What do you reckon, Paul? What's going to happen tonight?
I think hopefully we play the same way I did against St Mirren, Paul. I think on the front foot, I'm hoping maybe 2-0, 3-0 win. I'm hoping. If I could get a couple of enforcements in before the transfer window, I'd love to get another centre-back, somebody in the midfield that can enforce a game or dictate a game. I don't feel we've got that. And a striker, that's what I would like. I don't know what the guys think the same.
Kevin?
No, I would agree with that. Definitely another centre-half. The midfield, I'm still hopeful that Dan Neil needs time to settle in. I still think that he can still play a big part in this Rangers team. I know that some of the Rangers fans have written him off quite early, but
there's not much chance to see him.
No, I know. And then obviously a centre forward in terms of, they've got a goal scorer in Shankland, and Nadiri looks like that kind of targety type man, but no quite a targety type man. So I don't know what type of striker they're actually needing. They're not needing a penalty box goal scorer, because I think Shankland will still be able to do that job. I think if Derek's going to continue, obviously the one up front at the weekend, but if he's going to revert back to what Derek McInnes has always done in 4-4-2, then he may look to try and bring in a more targety type centre forward to complement the other two. But no, listen, tonight I think it's all about getting a positive result and building on the weekend's result against St Mirren, because obviously next weekend they've got Aberdeen away at 12 o'clock on Sunday, which is always a feisty affair, and it'll be a difficult game. So it's all about building momentum, confidence within the group, and just take each game at a time.
Are you seeing a 2-goal win, 3 goals?
I think Rangers might win 2 or 3.
Okay. Charlie?
Looking at the Rangers team right now, I don't think, I asked the question the other night to somebody, I don't think there's anybody that's cemented up.
No.
There's no position you go. Maybe left back with Penrice and Romans, maybe.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I couldn't sit here and go, the Rangers have shown enough to say they don't need a centre back, they don't need a right back, they don't need a goalkeeper, they definitely don't need a midfielder, they don't need a winger, they don't need a striker. Rangers can be doing well everywhere, because nobody's started set the header alight yet or really cemented their place.
The South African guy at centre back, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah,
he's come across really well, Charlie.
He has looked good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he's looked good. I just wonder that centre back area. The 2 centre backs you've got, Fernandes and the South African boy, sorry, I don't know his name. Mukanya. Are 2 players that are quite similar, and they're good players. I'm taking nothing away from them, but if you added a Davy Weir beside one of them, I think you've got a much better spine of a team. Somebody who understands the game, who can lead. You've got 2 centre halves there that are brilliant, and you look at other attributes and you think, oh, he's a perfect centre back, but sensing danger like Davy Weir. Davy Weir wasn't very fast. He wasn't brilliant on the ball. He wasn't very. He wasn't great 1v1 situations. But he senses danger, and he knows the game, and he leads, and that's what Rangers. If I had to say, what the Rangers need, 2 leaders, 2 proper leaders in the midfield area. Take a wee bit of pressure off Shanklin, because it's not always natural for a striker to lead.
And he's not always in the park.
And he's not always in the park.
Your manager gave his ideal. He was asked yesterday, what are your priorities signing wise?
So, I think never say never, but obviously priorities are at the top end of the pitch. We need to bring players in at the top end of the pitch at the minute. It's not to say we wouldn't be looking elsewhere, but I think, well, it's where we're at the minute. Hopefully the next signing we make is someone in the forward areas, and that would be our priority, Chris. Yeah, I think I just want a winger that we can get at the minute of the level, to be honest. If he plays off the left or plays off the right, it'll do me. If they can play off both sides, even better. So we've got, I think you've got Gas in Finlay, who obviously was up for press, and there's a couple of good moments, and Riakota is going to get better as we go along with it. And I think that we've got players that can play in these positions. But I think that for everything else, we see the importance of these positions, and we see the importance of the attacking threat that we have to have at Rangers, but so does everybody. It's not as if it's just me saying it. We're all trying to get them, and I believe that whoever we bring in will give us that real dose of quality.
Some really good points there. Charlie, what do you think the scoreline is tonight at Rangers?
I think they'll win 2-0.
Paul, thank you so much for your call. Loads coming on. 0808 17 17 700. The Motherwell team is in for the game, 7:30 tonight. That's a good tie, isn't it? Freiburg in town.
Difficult one, but
big one.
Good game to see for the Motherwell fans.
Paulson's back in goals. Gerwood Reich, Knight Lebel, Moorman, Longolo, Hodge, the captain Fadiger, Lowry, Said, Charles Cook, and Maswanisi. So that's the starting 11 for the Well.
Yeah, difficult game.
It'll be a tough game, Paul.
Yeah,
it will be. But listen, Motherwell's done great to get to this point.
They certainly have. Last week, I asked you, who do you fancy in the League Cup, Premier Sports Cup? If it's not Celtic, if it's not Rangers, and it's not going to be the 2 of them in the final, we now know that. And listen, I agreed with you last Thursday night. You said, I think Motherwell could go all the way.
I know, but
what was he thinking about?
They made 8 changes,
yes, yeah.
But listen, I'm going to jump back over. I'm going to go with Hearts.
You go for the Hearts? Right,
go for the Hearts.
Charlie, we spoke about it on Monday night. Motherwell, he's putting so much into these 2 ties, isn't he? Because the League Cup's now gone.
Premier Sports Cup. He is. Yeah. And the Stenny's a hard place to go. I said that before the tie. I think the Astro pitch is older than me. It's like carpet here. So it's a bit, and it's tight. So it's hard for Motherwell to play. No disrespect to the carpet. It's a
top carpet.
What is that?
They've actually got a new one, Charlie. They've got a new one.
Oh, yeah.
Has he got a new one?
I only know that because one of the kids played up there. So
when did they put that on?
Probably maybe last year or 2 years ago.
Definitely. Okay.
But I know the old one you meant.
I played in an old one. Oh my
God. This is Stenhouse Muir. Yeah.
It's darker than it is greener.
Back at Fir Park, which is a magnificent pitch. Motherwell, what do you think tonight, Kevin? What do you reckon?
I would like to hope that they can keep themselves in the tie, and how that comes across. It could be 1-1, 2-1 defeat, whatever. As long as they give themselves a fighting opportunity to be in the mix to try and get into the group stages.
The good thing we'll get from Motherwell is they'll go and take part in the game and they'll try and have possession and play a European style. So in the past, Motherwell and Scottish teams will go into Europe and be similar like Scotland at the World Cup and trying their best to defend their goal and hope for a 1-0. But Motherwell don't seem to play that way, even with the new manager. So it'll be a good game to watch.
0808 17 17 700. The Hibs team is coming in as well. More on Rangers. In fact, we'll have the Rangers team very, very shortly. That's next.
Show with Scottish Gas.
Here's an unusual one. The Hibs owner Ian Gordon has put £40,000 behind the bar in Belgium for the Hibs fans. That's novel, isn't it? Drink responsibly, but my goodness.
Amazing for him. Brilliant.
40 grand. That's a good night out, isn't it?
It certainly is. Let's hope that the game against Ghent goes well. But I mean, it's good to see owners looking after the fans. Yeah.
It is, Paul. Fans are, I've said it before, fans are the most important in football. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. So, no, that's a great gesture. The fans will appreciate that and get a wee couple of pints out of that.
Yeah, we're thinking about the coefficient.
Imagine the bar, the queue at the bar for that.
It'll be strong stuff over there. Please drink responsibly. Anyone who's listening over there. Right, let's go on the line. Ian's on. He's been waiting in Alva, a Rangers fan. Hi, Ian. Good evening.
Good evening, guys, and Charlie.
How you doing?
That's harsh.
We've still got a game of balls.
Right. I heard it mentioned on your good programme, I think, last night or the night before or some other time. No, recently, that they're trying to, the world, those in command are trying to bring in you must play 3 Scottish players in your team. You know, and every time you see Rangers, you're now saying, it's like, oh, well done to Celtic last night with their foreign Scotsman. And it's the same for Rangers. It's just too many. We can't play I like kick and rush football better than what they were talking about. Even about the kids, are still trying to teach them.
Ian, can I just ask you, would you like it to be a 3 Scottish rule so that we encourage young players and there's a quota? Are you up for that?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? Charlie?
Well, Celtic had it last night, didn't they? Donovan, McGregor, Kieran Tierney.
Yeah. So do you think there should be a quota, a rule to give?
I think so. Why not? 100%. Yeah. Why not? I think when you look at Colby Donovan, right, he gets his chance through default. So Johnson gets injured, Ralston gets injured, who's number 2, and they go, right, who's next? And they go and look in the B team. There wasn't a plan to get him in there, and he gets his chance. Look at him now. He's now playing in Champions League qualifiers and standing out at right back. There's many players missing out because they don't get the chance. Yes, I think a 3-player rule, and I would even go as far as say they have to play minutes. They have 3 players have 3 players in your starting lineup. Why wouldn't we?
Not just on the bench.
Yeah, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we as a country? You need 3 Scottish homegrown players in your starting 11.
And that would be domestically, or would you have that across the board?
Across the board.
What would
be the pitfalls?
Well,
if they weren't good enough, they'd need to play.
Aye.
Well, I think players deserve a chance, so they would need to then improve their youth system and make sure whatever they need to do with better coaching or better systems or whatever you need to do, because it's 3 players that need to come for that system and play in your team, things would need to improve.
I have no doubts that Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts have 15, 16, 17-year-olds in their squad somewhere that have potential to be first-team players.
And they need a chance.
They need an opportunity, Charlie. Colby Donovan got his through default, like you said.
Yeah.
I think I got mine through default. I'm pretty sure you maybe got yours a bit of luck somewhere along the line. But if that rule was to come in, that might just be the moment that gives that young kid that wee opportunity just to shine in a different environment.
Stand by. We'll be back in a second. Breaking news. Captain for Rangers tonight is
Raskin.
Good guess, but no, it's Dan Neil.
Oh, wow.
So Dan Neil, the man who came in from Sunderland that you mentioned 7 minutes ago in the programme, Kevin, he's the captain. Here's the Rangers team. Pandur is Sterling, Fernandes, Macania and Penrice. Neil, El Capitano tonight. Dragojevic, Chikwane, Yokota back in, Gassama and Nadiri. So that's the Rangers starting lineup. So first reaction, Kevin?
No Raskin.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the bench. Yeah, so he's on the bench. Kelly, McCrory, Nedeljkovic, who signed yesterday, Devlin, Raskin, Barron, Cameron, McCausland, Curtis, Asgard, Miofsky, and the captain, Shankland. And Raskin, who didn't want to give up the armband at the weekend, on the bench.
Listen, wow. I think, like Charlie alluded to earlier on, that no Rangers player has actually cemented their position in the team. So when he rotates the midfielders the way he has been doing, like Chukwane came in there at the weekend, they've done really well. Raskin played, whereas now Raskin's went out and Dan Neil's come in. So I can see why that's happened. I think Derek's maybe looking at, when he was talking earlier on the radio about the opposition tonight, I think Rangers probably will be stronger in the opposition, so this may be a good opportunity to get Dan Neil in and get one of those 90-minute performances. He was the captain at Sunderland when they got promoted into the Premiership from the Championship. So listen, he's got that experience as well, but Dan Neil now needs to put in I think a big performance tonight.
There's one change. Raskin's out of the team, Neil's in. Straight swap captain. I think Derek McInnes, I said he should play the same team, get a bit of continuity going forward, and get a bit of, I feel like he needs to get a settled team in there, and it seems to have settled in a wee bit. One change, so that's encouraging. I think Rangers will benefit from that similarity in the team.
We're kind of guessing about Raskin. We don't know what's happening. Is there an interest in him? You would imagine Belgian international, played in the World Cup. You would have expected him to go.
Well, I don't think if there is any interest, I don't think Rangers will be taking any chances, especially if he's serious interested after.
Of course, Chermiti.
So that could be the case. Is he on the bench?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he is on the
Raskin's
bench.
on the bench. So the Rangers news. Ian, are you confident for tonight?
Yeah. I don't care if Rangers win 1-0 with every game they play, but Rangers and Celtic up until recently they're letting in goals a lot. It's kind of stopped for Celtic, and that guy, he's a magician. That guy. Duran. I thought he was going to start singing when they said his name. Duran.
Duran.
He was going to Duran.
Yeah.
Give us a wee song, Ian. Give us a Duran classic.
Maybe in the third hour. Can you name any, Charlie? Hungry Like the Wolf?
I know that song as
Rio?
well. No, I can't name any. I can picture him.
Okay.
By the way, Charlie.
Yes.
By the way, Charlie, you've still got to give us that game of bowls that I'm going to vanquish you in.
Oh, don't worry, I'm coming for you.
I'll take him on bowls. I'll take him on the bowls.
Are you good at bowls?
Oh, I'm decent at bowls.
All right.
Ian's challenged me to a game.
Okay.
This is your best time to play because 4 years ago developed cancer and it was away. I had that away, but it's come back again.
Sorry to hear
that. So this is your best slot.
Ian,
sorry to hear that. It's 10-pin bowling we're talking about, isn't it?
Let's try and make that happen. Ian, thank you so much. You think a Rangers win tonight? Kevin, you've got the team there. I mean, a few questions for you. If you're Lon Shankland, this is becoming, it's not just a one-off, he's on the bench again.
Well, Paul, when you're a striker and you're not scoring goals and you've been brought in to do so, I don't really know if there's any other place where you can. The guy that's replaced you on Sunday, Nadiri, scored and had a decent enough performance, so I would find it difficult. And Lawrence would probably understand that, but Lawrence will be sitting on that bench tonight waiting for that opportunity to come on.
Is he raging, do you think? Because, if I was Lon Shankland, I'd be saying, Gaffer, you're not giving me a chance to start.
No, I think, I don't, listen, he'll be obviously disappointed not to be playing. But the reality is, as a striker, you can't sit and worry about it. You've got to just wait for that opportunity to come on and hope that an opportunity presents itself. I think on Sunday, had the one that come off the post and ended up rebounding to Penrice that ended up in the goal. If Lawrence had have scored that, then tonight might have been different. But Lawrence is experienced enough. He'll be fine. He'll be disappointed, but he'll be fine, and I understand the situation. Derek will have explained it to him, and like Derek said in the interview, just because you're a captain, it doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah. Ian said 1-0 would be good enough for him. He just wants Rangers to win. Charlie, what do you think? Rangers tonight?
I think they'll win a couple of goals. Yep. I think they'll win 2-0. That similar team to the weekend, and they'll build on that. As far as Lon Shankland's concerned, there's a lot of pressure on him right now, being at the top. The striker for Rangers needs to score the goals and the captain. So it might actually be a wee bit less pressure for him to sit on the bench, well, a lot less pressure for them, and come on as a sub. So it might just suit him.
Lawrence Shankland needs everybody else round about him when he's playing to perform. The first 3-4 games for Rangers that were quite negative, Rangers weren't creating a lot of opportunities. So when you're not creating a lot of opportunities, in turn, Lawrence Shankland's not going to get a lot of opportunities to score goals. So maybe this period out of the team, Rangers winning 5, if they can win 2 or 3 tonight, then go away to Aberdeen next week and win 2 or 3, that then builds confidence with the team. So then when Lawrence gets back in the team, he's going to a team that's full of confidence and creating more opportunities. Then you maybe see a different Lawrence Shankland. So it's just the waiting game at the moment. The waiting game for him to get an opportunity and the waiting game for Rangers to get consistent and start winning every week.
Here's what the manager said about the search for a striker.
Yeah, well, it's not really my department, but obviously we are all working close together to try and bring the best option, and not just an option, and try to be specific to what we're trying to look for, to be honest. But number 9s are normally more difficult ones to do, and it wasn't an area we were looking to try and do, but obviously with Yusuf's injury, where every day the lads are all actively trying to find and source good options for us to try and see if we can deliver one. But certainly the work's been aplenty. certain. We've been poring over different options and different strikers, and so we're hoping we can land on the one that we want, and hopefully we can bring him here quickly.
Vaclav Cerny's been mentioned non-stop for weeks now. They're saying that Rangers have been in talks with Besiktas. What do you think? 7, 8, 9 million, Kevin?
For me, great loan spell the first time round. I'm not a big fan of going back for somebody. 29 years old, spending £8-9 million on somebody. I'm not convinced that that's where Rangers should be looking.
But if you're the manager, you're just looking at this season, aren't you?
You can look at it in two options, Paul. You can think that they're desperate. Recruitment's not very good. If they're going back for somebody that... Cerny did well, so there is that. But did he do that well that they were absolutely wowed by him and desperate? I'm not convinced that that's the case. I
think Barry Ferguson wanted to sign him last summer, when he was also available.
I'll trust Barry's judgment over mine.
Yeah. Charlie, what do you feel? Cerny?
Yeah, I think bring him back. You need him. You need players to at the top end of the pitch. Now, the question mark would be his age, and there's no sell-on value then if he stays for a few years. But Rangers are getting to the stage where they're a wee bit desperate in terms of they need to start winning games and scoring goals, and he's somebody for that amount of money. If you can get him for 6, 7, 8 million, then get him and bring him in to help your team.
Here's a good stat on the Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Hearts have got 5 Scottish players starting tonight. I'll give you the team in a second. Hibs have got 3, Rangers have 1, and Motherwell have 1. Celtic last night, you said, had, obviously, Tierney, 3 started on the bench. You had, obviously,
Dane Murray,
right, Forrest and Ralston. Yeah. Yep. So, interesting though, isn't it? Rangers won tonight. Motherwell just won as well. Local, a Scottish player.
I don't understand. Well, I'd need to hear the reasons why you wouldn't do the.
It'd be interesting to try and do a stat or some sort of kind of analysis on the last maybe 10, 15 years, say the last 7 years with Steve Clarke under charge of Scotland. How many Scottish players were playing in like Scottish Premier League teams that ended up in the Scotland national team that benefited the national team? Because obviously we've had success with 2 Europeans and a World Cup. How many of those players played Scotland like for younger compared to the boys playing that went down south and forged their career? It'd be interesting to see if that's if it's a benefit, because at this minute in time the ultimate thing is that the players that are on the periphery need to try and force their way in or get an opportunity somehow. If they don't, we end up losing them to the system, because when you don't get a game with a Celtic or a Rangers or a Motherwell or a Hearts, you don't just disappear to a Dundee or an Inverness, like a Partick or something like that. You end up disappearing out of football. You end up disappearing to like a Stranraer or no disrespect to these teams, but in England, if I left Sunderland, I could have went sideways to another championship club. Somebody would take me, or I went to League One. Whereas in Scotland, we seem to drop down 3 or 4 tiers.
I think that's because they come through at an age and they don't have loan moves. So it's starting to change a wee bit now. But you see players coming through and they don't have any experience, so then they come through playing this nice football that we've developed for Pep Guardiola or the Dutch guy that came over, and it's loads of passes at the back, and then they try and get in the first team which don't play like that, or they wait too long to go on loan and experience what it is to head a ball and get challenged and get elbowed, and all of a sudden they go, oh, this isn't the football I know, I'm used to that academy stuff. Bills need to get exposed. People say they're no early, get exposed to first team football. And go and know what it is to fight and roll your sleeves up and understand the game, and then you develop as a player and you grow quickly. If you leave it too late, you end up getting spooked and falling out of the game.
So Celtic did it last night 3-0, but you hear the manager saying the tie is not over. We'll hear a bit more from him. Rangers on tonight. You both think Rangers are going to win. Motherwell, I'm hearing you both saying it's going to be really tough, but try and take it over there. Maybe a draw. Listen, you'd love to win. Who knows what will happen? I'll get your prediction on that. Hibs fans are on. Thomas is saying, give us the Hibs lineup. It's Salinger, Mayer, O'Hora, of course, the captain, Kerr, Elding, who scored at the weekend, Mulligan, Lowe, Chaiwa, Obita, Paslak and Campbell. So they're over at Ghent. We'll talk about it in a minute or two. The Hearts team against Rapid Vienna. And for Hearts, of course, they were looking for Champions League this season. They came moments away from that. We've rehearsed it so many times, but then Europa League in and out. They didn't qualify. They're in the Conference League tonight. And it's a tough one, isn't it, against Rapid Vienna? Here's the team. Roos in goals. McCart, McEntee, Miller, Braga, Cabori, Renault, McPake, Spittle is the captain, Finlay and Altena. Quick break and then we're back in the final run-in to the kick-off. Rangers fans, give us a call on the way to Ibrox. Celtic fans still on cloud nine after the win last night.
With Scottish Gas.
Celtic winning 3-0, Rangers looking for, well, I think a similar kind of scoreline tonight would be the one to take to the Czech Republic this evening. We gave you the Rangers team. It's the same as the weekend, apart from Nico Raskin starts on the bench, and it's Dan Neil, the captain. Billy's been on saying, he heard you last week, Kevin, you were saying Dan Neil will come good. What is it you like about him? He's not seen enough of him, but he wants it to work for him. And Aidan McGeady also said he's a really good player.
I just like how, for me, he gets in the half turn and he plays balls forward. I think that's important. I think when you're playing a midfield three, there's too much side to side, and somebody has to take the bull by the horns and go forward. I think Dan Neil's more than capable of doing that. There's times when he played with Sunderland where he wouldn't stand out, and he would take some abuse from the fans and stuff, but he would always turn up week in, week out, and he ended up, I think the season they got promoted from the Championship, he played nearly over 35-40 games for the club. So listen, he's got abundance of ability and abundance of talent. It's a fresh move to a completely different club. He spent his whole career at Sunderland up to this point, so that takes a bit of time as well to settle in. So I just like the Rangers fans to give him that wee bit more time, and hopefully tonight can be that performance where he can actually show what he's all about, and Rangers fans go away, no saying raving about him, but pleased at thinking, all right, we can start to see why we've brought this kid in here. The situation we're asking, it may be that he has had some sort of murmurs of a move and potentially just protecting their asset by putting him on the bench. Rangers maybe in turn, hopefully if things go their way, they win tonight quite comfortably. They don't need to bring Raskin on, and we'll probably hear more about the Raskin situation in the coming week or two. But listen, I think Rangers have enough to win the game tonight comfortably and build on a positive performance on Sunday.
They sure needed the win at the weekend. Game 5, what was it, 3 defeats, 1 draw. They got the big win in the Cup. What did that do for them over the last few days?
Yeah, I think winning is why we're all here. It's like there's no... You can be good as you want Monday to Friday, but if you don't win your game at the weekend, it's tough. I think even coming in on Monday morning, everybody was a bit brighter, a bit more a spring in their step. Because ultimately, I want a winning dressing room, I want a winning club, and getting a win was important for us. It took a bit longer than we'd have hoped to get ourselves going, but I think the manner of the win was quite convincing. A lot of what we wanted for the game, we got. There's still certain things we need to improve on, clearly, but scoring 5 goals at home in any sort of game is good shooting. So, got to take the positives from it, and I thought there were some good performances within the game. So, no, absolutely, going into this game, everything seems a bit easier and a bit more enjoyable when you're winning football.
And of course, on Raskin Fenerbahce apparently have instigated some negotiations about signing the Belgian midfielder. You'd think, Charlie, would you be surprised if he didn't go in the window?
It's looking that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a while now. He's been reported to be moving. I'd be more surprised if he was still there by the end of the window than if he was away. So yeah, I'd imagine that's probably why he isn't playing tonight. You'd imagine some sort of contact's been made, and because of the Cerny situation, Rangers aren't taking any chances because with him not being given the captaincy would indicate ahead of Shanklin would indicate that he's probably going to leave.
Yeah. Adnan's on, a Celtic fan, saying, what about that last night? He said, I loved the way Celtic played. Duran, who as well, and the manager, he wanted to hear a bit more from the manager, who said the team is going to get better.
I genuinely think that we can improve. We can improve in the sense that I think that will bring us on in terms of fitness as much as anything else. Really strong game, had to be at it almost every single minute. The last 10 or 15 minutes, although we broke a number of times and could have maybe done better. But overall, I thought the defending was strong. I thought Sinisalo did really great and made a big save for us at 2-0. It goes 2-1 and they're in the ascendancy at that stage. So lots of things happened during the course of the game. Can't probably take it all in. But when I analyse it again, I think, like the rest of the staff, and I'm sure the supporters are thinking that this is far from over.
He mentions Sinisalo, and he needed that boost probably, didn't he? He hasn't done badly, but there's going to be another keeper coming in to challenge.
Do you think there is?
Well, they're now saying, so your Blackburn Rovers keeper who was mentioned the other day, Ballas Todd, he is going to line up against Middlesbrough. Apparently Tony Mowbray has said that's probably going to happen. So there's another keeper has been mentioned, the Southampton keeper, Republic of Ireland keeper, Gavin Bazunu.
Well, Sinisalo's doing himself no harm. He's been really steady. For the minute he came in and took over for Kasper Schmeichel, there was big risks and question marks. But he's been really steady. He's made some decent saves without being outstanding. He's done a right good job, so he deserves credit for that. I just think somebody else coming in to challenge him and potentially be number one would be show ambition for the club.
Is the tie over? Well, you know what Martin O'Neill said afterwards.
Evan didn't even have to say it in the dressing room to the players. They know, they absolutely know this. That things that what we are, I think we've shown. I think we're capable of scoring, and which we probably would need to do. But they are a fine side. It's not. They're not playing it down at all. It's just I think that this game, as I say, our goals were just fantastic and good enough to win any football match. But we've got a long way to go yet.
That'll be some game if they need to score. That was a great game last night.
The tie's done, Paul. Aye. Celtic are through, but I mean you've got to guard. We can say it because it's not as in the changing room, is it? But the players won't be listening to us. They'll know how hard it is and how hard the game will be over there. And they know they need to go and put a performance on it, and they've got a good start though, and you'd imagine it'll be enough.
What did you think when the ball fell for Liam Scales? Did you think it's going to be a fourth pile driver as well, and it went past the post?
Well, that would have been it. That would have definitely been it. I mean, 1-0 you're always in the balance. 2-0 it's a dodgy scoreline, we all know that. 3 you're almost there. 4 would have been done.
I think their manager felt sucker punched because of the quality of the 3 goals. The third one was probably more of a footballing goal in terms of how the play and the build up, and I think the run from Kobe Donovan sometimes maybe goes unnoticed because he's tried his best to overlap Duran, which has then gave the fullback a decision to make, and Duran's then obviously played the 1-2 inside with Ho, and what a finish. But as much as I think Lask will score, I also think that Celtic will score. So Charlie's probably right. I think the tie is over, but the fat lady hasn't started singing yet.
Yeah, indeed. Incomings, Martin O'Neill was asked afterwards about the new players.
We are on the plus side in terms of money at this minute, and probably for the number of players you have left, I think, in terms of the wage budget and things like that. So we're actually in the plus. I think that regardless of what happens next Tuesday night, I think we've still got European football. And I think then that, and while, as we mentioned yesterday, that Champions League football is a big carrot for a lot of players, and that would be nice. I still think that we would, hopefully we'll get somebody in to augment the squad for European football anyway.
Charlie, more to come.
Yeah, it's not just European, it's Champions League football everybody wants now. Especially with the lead Celtic have got now, the whole crowd, everybody. Be good for Scottish football, have a Scottish team in Champions League again. It'd be amazing to watch, just getting excited thinking about it already.
A new format which came in a couple of years ago, so you get 4 home games, 4 away games. It's different. You know, there's the bigger chance. Look what they did 2 years ago.
That is, Celtic fans live for that. The away trips and the big home games with atmosphere. So it's long overdue. It's exciting.
I think the new format with the number of teams helps the likes of a Celtic try and progress further. And what I see is here, if Martin gets in another body or two and Celtic do qualify for the Champions League, I think they'll be in a far stronger position going into those games than what they were when they get knocked out to, was it Bayern Munich?
It was indeed, yeah.
And I think that team then was good on the night, but I think the squad that they're building now could maybe go one closer.
And also, I think the style of play, Kev, would suit better. I think Martin O'Neill's happy to concede possession, and I think Brendan Rodgers, when he did start to do well in Europe and get to that stage, it's because he did. At first he was a bit too proud and a bit of ego involved, and we'll go outplay Barca, and they battered Celtic for 7. Martin O'Neill was quite chilled and would happily play in the break, and I think that's why if Celtic can get through into the Champions League, it can be a really exciting season.
Motherwell game. Charlie was asking, a different Charlie, not you. What's your scoreline from it? Both of you didn't give me the score. What do you reckon, Kevin?
6-0 Freiburg.
I'm going to go. Are you going 6-0?
No.
He's at the wind up.
I'm going to go 2-1 Freiburg.
Charlie?
I'm going to go 3-2 Freiburg.
3-2?
3-2.
Okay, that'll be some game tonight. Looking at your old team, then looking at Rangers for, if you're just tuning in, Pander, it's Sterling, Fernandes, Macania and Penrice. So a couple of winners in the sense of the game at the weekend. Penrice, great start.
Very good. Just a solid left back, Paul, and you could see him grow in confidence and end up getting his goal, a couple of assists. You couldn't ask for a better debut.
Macania, quite solid.
Solid enough, looks a good player, great start to his career.
Neil, the captain, that's the big talking point that he's in, or is it? Raskin, well, you heard there's some interest in him. Dragojevic, who scored a good goal.
Great finish.
It was a bit slack as well, wasn't he? But what a finish, that's true.
It was a good finish. I think Dragojevic, whoever plays in that midfield 3, they've all got to try and equally cement their place individually.
Chikwani, Yokota back in, because I think he was, I think the manager said he was gubbed. Yokota, big night for him maybe to open things up for Rangers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. When you're playing these European ties, you're needing a bit of guile, and he brings that to the team.
Gassama and Nadiri. So Nadiri played the first game, as you know, Charlie, then it was Chermiti who was in.
For every Rangers player, it's about cementing a place now, and Derek McInnes is having to settle a team shortly and find his best team, and this right now, whoever's got the jersey, it's a big chance for them to cement their place, because as I said, I don't think there's anybody in that team right now as it stands who's guaranteed a position.
Curtis O'Feil, well, he needs patience. He's on the bench. He's had a decent start to the season, but he really wants to break through. And there's quite a lot of Rangers fans on saying Curtis should be playing.
I think so as well.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, Barry will be here along with Mark Guidi. Let's hope we've got some really good results to talk about. Kevin's got the headphones off already. If you're watching on YouTube, we're not finished yet, Kevin. So you're just thinking about the game tonight? No, we are. That's it. Thank you so much. See you again next week. Charlie, next week as well.
Yep, thank you.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you.
Have a great game tonight. Thanks to everybody who called in. We're back tomorrow night, live at 5.